If I told you that right now, something massive is happening in your life, something so powerful that it could change everything, would you believe me? Most of us don't. We miss the signs. We ignore the whispers of our own intuition. We push down that nagging feeling that things aren't the same anymore. And so we keep going, stuck in the same job, the same routines, the same conversations, pretending like nothing is changing. But here's the truth. It is. Right now, at this very moment, life is shifting. The world around us isn't the same as it was a year ago, 5 years ago, and neither are we. Maybe you felt it, the restlessness, the strange coincidences, the realization that some people no longer fit into your life. Maybe you've noticed that obstacles keep appearing, almost as if life is testing you, seeing if you're ready to evolve. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't bad luck. This is transformation. But transformation is a choice. Some of us will see the signs and step into our next chapter, stronger, wiser, and more in control than ever before. Others, they'll brush it off. They'll fight it. They'll cling to the past, too afraid to let go of the version of themselves that no longer serves them. Which one are you? Today, we're diving into 9 powerful signs that your life is about to change forever. If you recognize these in your own life, don't ignore them. Because the moment you become aware of these signs, everything shifts. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt this before? That strange, undeniable pull towards something bigger? Drop your experience in the comments, because your story could be exactly what another man needs to hear. Now, let's get into it. 1. You feel an urge to do something completely new. What if everything that once felt comfortable now feels suffocating? The weekend gatherings, the familiar conversations, the routines that used to bring a sense of stability, now they feel empty, almost meaningless. It's not boredom, it's something deeper. A quiet but relentless voice inside you keeps whispering, you were meant for more. At first you try to ignore it. You tell yourself it's just a phase, but no matter how much you distract yourself, the thought lingers. It follows you to work, interrupts your evenings, and keeps you awake at night. You've spent years, maybe decades in the same career, doing the same thing. It was once fulfilling, but now the idea of staying on this same path for another 10, 20 years, it feels unbearable. Something inside you has changed, and you don't know why. Maybe you've worked in finance for 20 years, but lately, you can't stop thinking about coaching, writing, or even working with your hands, building something real. Maybe you've been in a corporate office all your life, but now the thought of running your own business won't leave your mind. The pull is strong, but so is the fear. You wonder if it's too late. You wonder if you're crazy for even considering it. But here's the truth. This isn't just a passing thought. It's not a midlife crisis. It's not an escape from reality. It's a sign that your old life is too small for who you're becoming. Something inside you knows this. You feel it. The life you built, the identity you've shaped, it all made sense before. But now, it feels outdated, like an old suit that no longer fits. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront an unsettling truth. What once felt like home now feels like a cage. The job that once excited you now drains you. The city that once felt full of opportunities now feels stagnant. Even your old goals, the things you once strived for, now seem hollow. This is where most people make a crucial mistake. They ignore it. They suppress the feeling, convincing themselves that it's just a phase, that they should be grateful, that maybe they're just overthinking things. They distract themselves with work, entertainment, or meaningless habits just to avoid facing the truth. But deep down, they know. They know something is missing. They know they were meant for more. And the worst part? They let their next chapter slip away before it even begins. Imagine yourself at 65 years old, looking back at your life. You remember this moment, the one you're in right now. You remember the nights you spent lying awake, wondering if there was more to life than this. You remember the ideas you had, the dreams you pushed aside. And then a painful realization hits. The only thing that stopped you was fear. Not a lack of talent, not a lack of opportunity, just fear. And now, the time is gone. This is the reality for millions of people. They dismiss the urge to change, and life moves on without them. But for those who listen, who have the courage to embrace the unknown, life rewards them in ways they never imagined. Take Mark, for example. He spent 25 years in corporate banking. He had the respect, the stability, the financial security, yet every day he felt a growing emptiness. He couldn't explain it, but he knew that staying in the same routine for the rest of his life wasn't an option. One day, he walked away. Not because he had to, but because he couldn't ignore the pull anymore. He started over. He became a coach, helping others escape the very cycle he had broken free from. At first, people called him reckless, but for the first time in decades, he felt alive. Looking back, he realizes that the urge to do something new wasn't a coincidence. It was a signal, a sign that his old life was over and a new one was waiting. Right now, you're feeling that same signal, and you have two choices. You can ignore it, convince yourself that now isn't the right time, and keep doing what's familiar. Or you can act. And no, that doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or turning your life upside down overnight. But it does mean starting. Start by listening. What is calling you? What keeps coming back to your mind, no matter how many times you push it away? Start by exploring. Research the thing you've been drawn to. Take a small step, test the waters. Start by trusting that the voice inside you isn't random. It's your future self calling you forward. And here's why you must listen. Time is running out. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The meaning is simple. We act like we have all the time in the world, but we don't. We wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There will always be something in the way. The market isn't right. The economy is uncertain. You have responsibilities, commitments, people depending on you. But years from now, when you look back, will those excuses matter? The man who never took the leap will always envy the man who did. This is your moment. The life you want is waiting, but it won't wait forever. You can keep walking the same road, pretending that everything is fine, hoping that the feeling will pass. Or you can take control. You can step forward, even if it's just one small step, and trust that the signs are there for a reason, because they are. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? 2. Obstacles and challenges appear everywhere. The moment you decide to change, life pushes back. Hard. At first, it feels like a coincidence. You commit to getting in shape, and suddenly, work demands more of your time. You decide to start saving money, and out of nowhere, unexpected expenses pile up. You set your mind on improving your mental resilience, and just like that, a wave of problems comes crashing in, testing your patience, your discipline, and your willpower. This is not an accident. Every time you try to break free from an old version of yourself, life will test you. It will throw distractions, setbacks, and resistance in your way, not to punish you, but to see if you're serious. Most people take this as a sign to stop. They think, maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe I should wait until things calm down. But that's exactly why they never change. The truth is, there is no perfect time. The struggles you face aren't signs that you should quit. They're signs that you should keep going. The world you live in now was built by your past choices, your past habits, and your past mindset. The moment you decide to change, your old world fights back. Everything that once felt familiar, the routine, the comfort, the habits that kept you stuck, will try to pull you back in. You'll be tempted to delay, to make excuses, to convince yourself that you'll start later. But there is no later. There is only now. This is why you must remain silent in the early stages. When you begin something new, keep it to yourself. Work in the dark. Let your results speak for you, not your words. Too often we announce our plans too soon, looking for validation, only to be met with doubt, skepticism, or unsolicited advice from people who don't share our vision. When you talk about your goals too early, you open the door for opinions that are not in alignment with your path. Someone will tell you it's too risky. Someone will remind you of all the ways you could fail. And before you know it, their doubts become your doubts. So don't give them that chance. Move in silence. Build in private. Let your success be the announcement. And while you're doing that, understand this. Challenges are not roadblocks. They are proof that you're on the right path. Think about it. If change were easy, everyone would do it. If success, discipline, and self-improvement required no struggle, The world would be full of people living their dreams. But it's not. Most people stay exactly where they are, not because they aren't capable, but because they weren't willing to push through the resistance. That resistance is the test. It's the fire that separates those who just talk about change from those who actually make it happen. The moment you face a challenge, you have two choices. Use it as an excuse to stop, or use it as fuel to push forward. Most people quit because they expect the journey to be smooth. They believe that once they make a decision to change, everything should fall into place effortlessly. But that's not how transformation works. When a snake sheds its skin, it doesn't just slide out of it easily. It scrapes against rocks, pushing through discomfort, because that's the only way to grow. When a muscle gets stronger, it first has to tear. It has to endure stress before it rebuilds itself. And when you decide to evolve, you will be tested. You will be thrown into situations that challenge your patience, your resilience, and your commitment. This is where most people give up. They mistake struggle for failure. But the truth is, struggle is progress. Every obstacle you overcome is another layer of weakness stripped away. Every challenge you face is another part of the old you being burned away to make room for something stronger. So expect the struggle. Welcome it. When life throws resistance at you, don't see it as a sign to stop. See it as confirmation that you're on the right path. There's a reason why, in ancient times, warriors didn't fear battle. They embraced it. They knew that only through adversity could they prove themselves. And the same applies to you. You're in a battle right now. Not against the world, but against your own doubts, your own fears, and your own habits that are trying to keep you exactly where you are. You can either let them win, or you can fight back. So the next time you set a goal and everything starts going wrong, don't panic. Don't give in to frustration. Don't assume it's a sign to quit. Instead, tell yourself, this is the test, this is the fire, and I am ready for it. Because the moment you push through, the moment you prove that nothing will stop you, the obstacles lose their power. The struggle isn't here to break you, it's here to make you unstoppable. And the only question that remains is, will you let it? 3. You feel restless, like something big is coming. A few weeks ago, I felt it again. That familiar, unshakable restlessness. It crept up on me in the quiet moments, late at night when everything was still, in the middle of conversations that suddenly felt empty, during tasks that once felt important but now seemed meaningless. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself it was just stress, just a passing phase. But deep down, I knew better. I've felt this before, and every time it's happened, it has meant only one thing. My life was about to change. This feeling isn't random. It's not boredom. It's your subconscious preparing you for something bigger. It's a signal, one that most people ignore because it makes them uncomfortable. Men experience this at different points in life. Some at 30, others at 40, 50, 60. It often happens at a milestone, when you've built something solid, when you should feel stable, when life should feel predictable. But instead, something inside you starts whispering. There's more than this. That whisper turns into a nagging voice, then into an unbearable tension, like a caged animal pacing inside you, desperate for release. It's the part of you that knows you were meant for more, but also knows that staying where you are is the safer option. The first instinct is to resist. You bury yourself in distractions. You tell yourself it's just stress, that you should be grateful for what you have. But that feeling doesn't go away. If anything, it gets louder. You sit in meetings at work and wonder why you're even there. You find yourself zoning out in conversations, realizing you no longer connect with the people you once did. You wake up feeling like something is missing, even though on paper, everything is fine. That's the trap. Most people assume discomfort is a sign that something is wrong. But what if I told you it's a sign that something is right? Because here's the truth. Every major breakthrough in life is preceded by this exact feeling. That restless energy, that frustration, it's your mind breaking free from an old version of yourself. Think about the moments in history that changed everything. The Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, the dawn of the digital age. Before every great shift, there was chaos, there was discomfort, there was tension. Your life works the same way. You don't just wake up one day as a new person. You don't evolve without friction. There's always a phase before transformation, a phase where everything that once made sense starts to fall apart. And that's where you are right now. So let me ask you, what are you feeling restless about? Is it your job, your relationships, the city you live in, the routine you've been following for years? Whatever it is, that restlessness is pointing you toward the next step. It's easy to suppress it. Most men do. They drown it in routine, in alcohol, in endless entertainment, in work. They do whatever it takes to silence the voice inside them that says, "This is not enough." But here's the problem. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes the consequences worse. If you suppress it long enough, life will force the change upon you. The job will collapse, the relationship will fall apart, the sense of purpose will erode. And then you won't have a choice. You'll have to face the truth you tried to avoid. So why wait for the storm to hit? Why not take control now? Because here's the thing. Restlessness is not the enemy. It's an invitation to reinvent yourself, an invitation to step into the life you were actually meant to live, an invitation to stop playing small. This isn't about reckless action. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing the signs and using them. It's about realizing that if you're feeling restless, it's because you've outgrown the life you're living. You're in a cocoon that no longer fits, and you have two choices. One, stay there. Keep suppressing the feeling. Keep pretending everything is fine. Keep waiting for the right time that will never come. Two, embrace the restlessness. Let it guide you. Let it push you toward the next version of yourself. And no, you don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to burn your life to the ground overnight. But you do need to start listening to yourself. What excites you? What challenges you? What's the thing you keep thinking about, but keep pushing away because it feels too risky? That's where you start. For me, that restlessness led to this message, to this moment. Weeks ago, I felt it creeping up again, the urge to step into something bigger. The feeling that I was meant to do more, to reach more people, to push past my own limits. And instead of ignoring it, I leaned in. That's why you're hearing this now. So if you're feeling restless, take it seriously. Because if you listen to that feeling, if you let it guide you instead of fighting it, you will look back on this moment as the turning point. The moment everything changed. The only question is, will you act or will you wait until it's too late? 4. You're losing people, but it feels like a natural process. Have you noticed that your circle is getting smaller? That the people you once spent hours with are now distant? The conversations that used to flow so easily now feel forced. The things you once had in common are fading, replaced by a quiet realization. You no longer belong in the same place. At first, it feels strange. You question if you did something wrong. You wonder why the people who were once so close are now nowhere to be found. But then, something unexpected happens. You realize you're not even upset about it. You're not grieving the friendships that are slipping away. If anything, there's a sense of relief. This isn't a coincidence. It's not bad luck. It's a natural process. When you evolve, not everyone will evolve with you. When your mindset shifts, the people around you either shift with you or fall away. And that's okay. Most people fear losing friendships, but here's the truth. Growth demands separation. You can't step into a new version of yourself while clinging to relationships that were built on an old version of you. Think of it like upgrading a system. Some programs that worked on the old version simply won't run on the new one. They become obsolete. Not because they were bad, but because they are no longer compatible. That's what's happening in your life. As you grow, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll notice that certain relationships begin to fade. It's not because you're better than anyone. It's not because you've outgrown them in a superior way. It's because you are changing, and your environment is adjusting to match that change. The people who stay are the ones meant for your next chapter. The ones who leave were only meant for the chapter you just closed. Most people resist this process. They chase after old friendships, try to rekindle connections that have naturally run their course. They force conversations that no longer hold meaning. But deep down, they know the truth. Some things are not meant to last forever. When you hold on to relationships that no longer align with who you're becoming, you delay your own growth. You slow yourself down. You dim your own light just to keep others comfortable. But here's what you need to understand. Losing people is not a loss. It's a recalibration. The universe is making room for new connections, new conversations, new experiences that align with the person you are becoming. But you can't receive them if your hands are still gripping the past. This is why, as you grow, you'll start attracting a different kind of person. You'll meet people who inspire you instead of drain you. People who challenge your thinking instead of keeping you in the same loop. People who see the world in a way that excites you, that pushes you to think bigger, to be better. And when that happens, you'll look back at the relationships you lost and realize, they didn't leave me. I outgrew them. That's not arrogance. That's reality. Some friendships are seasonal. They serve a purpose, they teach you lessons, they provide comfort for a time. But when that time is over, forcing them to continue is like keeping a flower in a vase long after it has wilted. It's time to stop resisting. If people are leaving your life, let them. If old friendships feel forced, let them fade. If you feel disconnected from the people you used to be close with, accept it. This isn't a punishment. This is the universe clearing space. This is life, making sure that when your next opportunity arrives, you have the right people standing beside you. Imagine climbing a mountain while carrying unnecessary weight. Every extra pound slows you down, drains your energy, makes the journey harder than it needs to be. But when you let go of what no longer serves you, the climb becomes lighter, faster, freer. This is why, when people leave your life, you must resist the urge to chase after them. If they were meant to be in your future, they wouldn't be walking away in the present. The ones who are meant to stay will stay. The ones who are meant to leave will leave. Your only job is to keep moving forward, because what's ahead is far greater than what's behind. And if you keep looking back, you'll miss it. So let me ask you, who in your life is holding you back? And more importantly, are you brave enough to let them go? 5. You can't tolerate fake people anymore. There was a time when compliments felt good, when flattery was welcomed, when surface-level interactions were enough. But something changed. One day, you start noticing it. The empty smiles, the rehearsed words, the subtle insincerity in people's voices. Conversations that once felt normal now make your skin crawl. It's not paranoia, it's clarity. I first noticed this shift in my parents. Growing up, they used to nod politely when people showered them with praise. They would accept small talk, go along with pleasantries, even if they weren't genuine. But as they got older, something changed. They stopped pretending. They became sharper, more direct, uninterested in anything that wasn't real. I remember the first time they met my wife. My mother, who never wasted words, simply said, "I like her. She's honest." That was it. No over-the-top excitement, no fake enthusiasm. Just a straightforward recognition of something real. At the time, I didn't fully understand it, but now I do. When you grow, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you develop an intolerance for anything that lacks authenticity. You stop needing validation. You stop entertaining conversations that drain you. You stop giving energy to people who only take and never give. This isn't about arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about valuing your time and protecting your energy. When you're young, you tolerate a lot. You sit through pointless meetings, you engage in small talk that bores you, you maintain relationships that serve no real purpose. But at some point, you wake up and realize, every moment you spend on something meaningless is a moment you never get back. That's when everything shifts. You stop pretending to laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You stop responding to texts out of obligation. You stop giving people access to your life just because they expect it. And most importantly, you stop feeling guilty for it. I used to think that distancing myself from fake interactions was rude, that it was my responsibility to keep everyone comfortable, even if it meant betraying my own peace. But then I realized something. Every fake interaction is a transaction. You give your time, your energy, your attention, and in return, you get nothing. No real connection, no real value, just another hour wasted in a conversation you'll forget by tomorrow. So I stopped. I started filtering my time. I started choosing quality over quantity, in friendships, in conversations, in every interaction I had. And something incredible happened. The more I eliminated the fake, the more room I had for the real. The more I stopped engaging with shallow people, the more I attracted people who truly mattered. And that's the part no one tells you. When you cut out the unnecessary, you make space for what's essential. When you stop entertaining the fake, the real starts showing up. This is why so many people struggle with loneliness when they start growing. At first, it feels like isolation. You lose friends. You attend fewer social events. You spend more time alone. But then, something unexpected happens. The right people start appearing. The ones who don't need you to perform. The ones who value honesty over politeness. The ones who push you forward instead of holding you back. I remember a time when I used to keep certain people around just because they had been in my life for years. It didn't matter that the friendship was built on convenience rather than genuine connection. It didn't matter that the conversations were forced, that the energy was draining. I held on because that's what we're taught to do. But then I asked myself, why? Why was I investing in something that no longer served me? Why was I tolerating interactions that felt more like obligations than real connections? And the moment I let go, I felt free. If you're at a point in life where fake people exhaust you, don't fight it. Don't convince yourself that you need to be nice or keep the peace. Keeping the peace with others often means waging war within yourself. The truth is, if you want to grow, you need to become selective. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not every conversation is worth your time. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. And that's okay. The goal isn't to have a large circle. The goal is to have a real one. So if you find yourself rejecting fake conversations, forced smiles, and shallow relationships, don't resist it. Embrace it, because it means you're evolving. It means you're stepping into a version of yourself that refuses to waste time on anything less than real. And that right there is freedom. 6 strange coincidences and signs keep appearing. Something keeps showing up, a number, a phrase, a person, a place. At first you dismiss it, it's just a coincidence, nothing more. But then it happens again and again, until it becomes impossible to ignore. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly they call you. You hear a word in a random conversation, and then it appears everywhere, on the radio, in a book, on a billboard. You wake up at the same time every night, noticing patterns, feeling like something is shifting beneath the surface. At first it feels strange, almost eerie. But deep down you know this is not random. Throughout history, great minds have spoken about synchronicity, the idea that when you are on the brink of transformation, life starts to communicate with you in ways beyond logic. It's like an invisible force is trying to get your attention, nudging you toward a path you haven't fully recognized yet. Some people ignore these signs, brushing them off as mere coincidences. Others, those who are truly awake, understand that these moments are not random. They are a signal. When life is about to shift, when something significant is on the horizon, patterns start to appear. These patterns are messages, not the kind that scream at you, but the kind that whisper, persistent, quiet, yet impossible to ignore. You sense them before you understand them. You feel them before you can explain them. Think about it. Have you ever been at a crossroads, unsure of which direction to take, only to have an unexpected event push you exactly where you needed to go? Have you ever been contemplating a major life decision, and suddenly, everywhere you turn, you see or hear something that speaks directly to that choice? A man once wrestled with the idea of leaving his corporate job. He had no plan, only a deep, growing feeling that he was meant for something else. One day, while walking through a bookstore, a single book fell off the shelf in front of him. The title? The Courage to Walk Away. He picked it up, flipped through its pages, and found himself reading about a man in a nearly identical situation, one who left his unfulfilling career and found something far greater. It was the exact message he needed. A message that, whether by coincidence or something more, had found its way into his hands. Some would call it luck, others would dismiss it. But those who understand how life works know that moments like this are far from meaningless. When you see signs, when patterns emerge, when life seems to be pointing you towards something, Pay attention. Because here's what most people don't realize. These signs are not just signals, they are invitations. The universe isn't just showing you numbers and symbols for fun. It's guiding you, waiting for you to wake up, to take action. But that's where most people get stuck. They see the signs, they recognize the patterns, but they do nothing. They stay exactly where they are, ignoring the very thing that's trying to lead them forward. And when you ignore the signs, the opportunities that come with them start slipping away. There's a reason why certain doors only open once. There's a reason why certain moments feel urgent, like a quiet force pulling you forward. Life doesn't wait. The window doesn't stay open forever. And those who hesitate, who second guess, who convince themselves that they are imagining things, those are the ones who look back years later and wonder, what if? They remember the moments they ignored, the chances they didn't take, the doors they didn't walk through. And by the time they're ready, it's too late. The moment is gone. The opportunity has passed. This is why awareness is everything. If you're seeing strange coincidences happening more and more, don't brush them off. Ask yourself, what was I thinking about when I saw that number? What decision was I about to make when that random event occurred? What direction is life trying to push me toward? Because here's the truth. Most people sleepwalk through life, unaware of the forces shaping their path. But those who pay attention, those who listen, they move faster. They evolve quicker. They see what others miss. It's easy to think that signs will always be there, waiting for us to act when we're ready. But that's not how it works. Ignore them long enough and they fade. Dismiss them often enough and they stop appearing altogether. Convince yourself that it's all in your head, and eventually life stops speaking to you. But for those who stay alert, who listen, who act, those are the ones who break free. The ones who walk paths others never see. The ones who recognize that when the universe speaks, the only question is, will you listen? 7. You start seeing the truth about everything. One day, something shifts. You look around and realize how much of life is built on illusion. People pretend to be happy while their eyes tell a different story. They chase money, not because they need it, but because they think it will earn them respect. They waste time on things that don't matter, distracted by entertainment, trends, and the constant pressure to fit in. You start seeing through it all. The social masks, the empty conversations, the way people measure their worth by their job titles, their bank accounts, the cars they drive, the way they seek validation through social media, hoping that likes and comments will fill a void that no amount of attention ever could. And then you realize something even bigger. For years, you were part of it too. You once believed that success meant status, that happiness came from approval, that the more you achieved, the more you'd feel complete. But now, you see the truth. Success, as society defines it, is a game. A carefully designed system that keeps people running in circles, chasing things they don't actually want, just to impress people who don't actually care. The moment you recognize this, something inside you changes. You stop caring about what people think. You stop following paths that don't align with who you are. You stop wasting time on things that drain you. And that's when the isolation begins. Because when you wake up, when you truly see reality for what it is, you quickly realize that most people don't want to see it. They would rather live in the illusion. It's safer. It's easier. It doesn't require them to question everything they've built their lives around. At first, this realization is unsettling. You feel like an outsider. The conversations that once interested you now feel hollow. The places that once excited you now seem meaningless. You find yourself pulling away, not because you want to, but because you no longer relate. And then, something even more powerful happens. You realize that this is not a curse, it's a gift. Because for the first time, you are making decisions based on truth, not conditioning. You're no longer chasing money for the sake of status. You're building real wealth for freedom. You're no longer surrounding yourself with people out of obligation. You're choosing relationships that add real value. You're no longer living for external validation. You're doing what actually fulfills you. This level of clarity changes everything. You begin to understand why so many people are stuck. Because they are trapped in a cycle they don't even realize they're in. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like. They stay in jobs they hate because they fear stepping into the unknown. They fill their lives with noise to avoid the silence that would force them to face themselves. But you're different now. You can't unsee the truth. You know that happiness doesn't come from possessions, but from peace of mind. You know that real success isn't about how others perceive you, but about how you feel when you're alone with your thoughts. You know that the only thing worth chasing is your own potential. This realization makes you dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a way that society can't control. You stop falling for the traps. You stop responding to manipulation. You stop playing by the rules that were never designed for your benefit. And people will notice. Some will respect you, some will admire you, but many, many will resent you. They will call you cold because you no longer engage in meaningless drama. They will call you selfish because you prioritize your time and energy. They will call you arrogant because you refuse to conform. But deep down, they know the truth. You are not wrong for choosing clarity over illusion. You are not wrong for wanting more than a scripted life. You are not wrong for refusing to trade your freedom for comfort. So if you feel this shift happening, if you are starting to see the world differently, don't fight it. Embrace it. Let it sharpen you. Let it refine you. Let it push you toward the life you were meant to live. Because most people will never wake up. They will live and die in the illusion. Never questioning it, never escaping it. But you have a choice. See the truth, accept it, and move forward with the power of someone who is no longer blind. 8. You stop caring about what others think. There was a time when every decision you made came with a question. What will people think? You hesitated before speaking your mind, before making choices that felt right for you, but might be judged by others. You dressed in ways that conformed, pursued goals that looked good on paper, and measured your success by how others perceived you. But now, you don't care anymore. Not in a reckless way, but in a way that is freeing. You've stopped playing by the invisible rules that kept you trapped. You've stopped seeking approval from people whose opinions never truly mattered. You've stopped living for a world that never lived for you. A few years ago, my cousin told me something that stuck with me. He had spent most of his life chasing external validation, working a job he hated because it impressed his parents, maintaining friendships that drained him because he didn't want to be seen as distant, even buying things he didn't need just to keep up appearances. One day, it hit him. He was exhausted. Exhausted from living a life that wasn't his. Exhausted from carrying the weight of other people's expectations. And so he let it all go. He quit the job. He cut ties with those who didn't align with him. He simplified his life. And for the first time, he felt alive. That's the irony. When you stop caring about what others think, you don't lose anything. You gain everything. You gain time. You gain clarity. You gain the ability to pursue what truly matters without the noise of public opinion clouding your vision. Most people never reach this point. They stay trapped, constantly looking over their shoulders, constantly adjusting themselves to fit in. But fit into what? A system designed to keep them in line? A culture that tells them who they should be before they even decide for themselves. This is why people feel lost. They spend their lives building a persona instead of becoming a person. They learn to perform rather than to live. But the moment you stop caring, everything changes. You start dressing for yourself, not for trends. You start speaking your truth, not the version that's socially acceptable. You start making choices that actually fulfill you, not the ones that look good on paper. And here's what no one tells you. The people who matter will stay, and the ones who don't will leave. Yes, some people will misunderstand you. Some will call you selfish, some will judge. Let them. Their opinions were never about you. They were about their own limitations, their own fears, their own inability to live freely. Because deep down, they wish they could do what you're doing. They wish they had the courage to break free. Think about it. When was the last time you truly respected someone who was desperate for approval? When was the last time you admired someone who shaped their life around what others wanted? You don't. You respect the ones who stand firm, who walk their own path, who live without apology. That's who you are becoming. The greatest power you can have in this world is to be unapologetically yourself. To move with confidence without seeking permission. To chase what excites you without explaining yourself. To let people misunderstand you and not feel the need to correct them. Most people waste their best years trying to impress people they don't even like. They trade their authenticity for acceptance, and in the end, they regret it. Because no matter how much approval they collect, they never feel whole. You are past that. You've outgrown the need for applause. You no longer need everyone to agree with you. You no longer need to be liked by everyone. You no longer need external validation to know your worth. Because here's the truth. Most people aren't even thinking about you. They're too busy worrying about their own lives, their own insecurities, their own fears. The judgment you once feared, it was never real. It was an illusion. And now that you see through it, you're free. So move forward without hesitation. Live without explanation. Become the person you were meant to be, without looking back. Because the only opinion that ever truly mattered was your own. 9. Everything feels like it's falling apart, but deep down, you know it's not. The ground beneath you is shifting. What once felt secure is now crumbling. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe a long-term relationship has ended. Maybe the future you thought was certain has vanished overnight. The things you once relied on, the routines that gave you stability, the people who were always there, all of it seems to be slipping through your fingers. It feels like chaos. It feels like failure. It feels like everything is falling apart. But if you listen closely, beneath the fear, beneath the uncertainty, there's something else. A quiet, unshakable feeling, a knowing, a deep realization that this isn't the end. This is a transition, and no matter how painful it seems, it is happening for a reason. The hardest moments in life often come right before the breakthrough. The moment before the storm clears is always the darkest. The moment before transformation is always the most uncertain. This is not punishment, this is preparation. The version of you that existed before cannot survive where you are going next. And so, everything that no longer serves you must be stripped away. You might not see it now, but this collapse is making space for something greater. The job you lost, it was keeping you small. The relationship that ended, it was holding you back. The sudden changes that feel like destruction, they are the very things forcing you to grow. You are being pushed towards something better, even if you can't yet see what that is. Most people resist this process. They cling to the old. They fight against the change. They try to hold together the pieces of a life that is no longer meant for them. And in doing so, they prolong the suffering. But if you let go, if you surrender to the shift, you will find that what feels like destruction is actually a form of creation. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the fire that burns away weakness. Pain is the sculptor, shaping you into something stronger. Pain is the threshold you must cross to step into the person you were meant to become. Every struggle you face is a test. Every setback is a lesson. Every loss is a redirection. The universe is not trying to break you. It is trying to rebuild you. So ask yourself, what if this is happening for you, not to you? What if this moment of collapse is actually your biggest opportunity? What if, years from now, you look back and realize that everything you lost was making space for something far greater than you could have imagined? It is easy to trust life when things are going well. It is easy to feel strong when nothing is challenging you. But true power, true resilience, is built in the moments when everything feels uncertain. This is your test. This is your moment. Will you resist the change, or will you step into it? Will you fight to hold on to what is falling away, or will you allow yourself to evolve? The choice is yours. You can see this as the end, or you can see it as a beginning. You can break down, or you can break through. You can surrender to fear, or you can embrace the unknown. Because deep down, beneath the fear, you already know the truth. This is not your destruction. This is your transformation. And when the dust settles, you will realize you were never falling apart. You were being rebuilt. Life is always speaking to you, but the question is, are you listening? The signs are there. The restlessness, the unexpected obstacles, the people fading away, the strange coincidences that seem too perfect to ignore. These are not random events. They are signals, guiding you toward a new chapter. a stronger version of yourself, a life that aligns with who you are meant to be. Growth is uncomfortable. It forces you to shed the old, to walk away from what no longer serves you, to stand firm in who you are becoming. Most people resist this change. They cling to the familiar, even when it holds them back. But those who trust the process, who embrace the shift instead of fearing it, are the ones who evolve. If you recognize these signs in your life right now, don't ignore them. Lean into them. Let them guide you. Let them shape you. Because transformation is never easy, but neither is staying stuck in a life that no longer fits. So ask yourself, are you paying attention? Are you ready to move forward? Or will you let fear keep you where you are? Now I want to hear from you. Have you experienced these signs? Have you ever felt life pushing you towards something greater? Share your story in the comments below, because your journey might just be the inspiration someone else needs.